Hey guys, this is Gaijin Anime, and today I wanted to make a kind of a different type of video, which is basically a short and crisp reaction to a couple moments from Recreators 11 and Seikaisuru Kado 10, which are both series that I kind of find interesting to watch because they have a lot of specific fun moments. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the moment number one, which kind of caught my eye, is in Recreators 11. And at 11:27, I'll just basically start it here.
だけど君たちのいるここはそんなことが余裕である。
全然励まされてるように聞こえないよ。
僕が言いたいのはさ、君らは僕らと違って自分の行く場所を自分で決められるってこと。
Kind of a beautiful perspective there. What you should check out is the power indicator on his screen, which is 7,423 kilowatts. Now, this is 7.5 megawatts, and in horsepower, for example, this is essentially around 10,000 horsepower. Now, the point is that the Gigas Machina that Kanoya basically pilots, the thing is 55 meters tall, according to his own words, and its mass should probably be, well, at least a couple hundred tons, or maybe even much more, probably thousands of tons. And for an object of such mass, 10,000 horsepower is basically nothing. It wouldn't be able to lift it off the ground. So this indicator, I mean, they probably didn't really think this through. I mean, this is yeah. First fun moment here. Okay, so the next fun moment. Now, the fun moment here is the phone has the Wi-Fi signal on. This is really funny because they're above the clouds, and I mean there's no Wi-Fi there, unless the Gigas Machina is basically creating a specific Wi-Fi inside. And also, technically, at this altitude, you don't have 3G or 4G coverage either, because the cell phone networks, they have a rather limited range. So typically, if you're in a plane that is, well, kind of outside of the airport area, you will lose network coverage. So in this case, this is probably not possible. Next one is a moment around 14:30, just after the commercial break. It's a nice house, by the way. Really nice house. Not cheap. His art is well not that great. I mean, typical fan art class. The interesting part here at 1451 is the Pic Life site, which is basically kind of a Pixiv in their world. And yeah, if anyone doesn't know Pixiv, this is the major site where Japanese artists post their stuff. It's kind of like DeviantArt for the rest of the world. Next fun moment for me is at 1636, which is at the train station. And the signboard there basically is Suika daijoubu desu ka? And this Sushika is basically this. It's the Suika card, which is used on the Tokyo, not only Tokyo, but I think the general Kanto area, subway, JR lines, vending machines, and all other kinds of stuff. It's a really convenient thing, by the way. It costs 500 yen to get it from the machines that you can see in the screen, and you can also load, put some money on the card there, and so on and so on. But it's always funny that they kind of deliberately misspell or change the names of these things so that they don't get some, you know, kind of copyright claims or whatever. And finally, there is the scene around 2040. Which is basically kind of a cyberbullying of an artist because of, you know, some kind of shit.
今のところいろはサイクルだけだけど掘れば出てきそう刹那自殺しろ
自殺しろ
言いがかりでした。
死ね
多分
かす
急に注目された島崎さんを疎ましく思った誰かが火をつけたのでしょう。
Well, this kind of thing is actually pretty common in Japan. I mean, they for some reason the fandom is when it turns on specific people, it can be really toxic. I mean, it's really nasty, and they basically just tell you people to die or whatever. And I don't know. I personally, I really don't like it, and I don't. That's probably, you know, kind of the backside of the dedication of the otaku community. I mean, they're really super devoted and super supportive normally, but if something happens that kind of flips the attitude, for example, they kind of think that the person betrayed them, like some idol marrying or whatever, or getting a boyfriend, then they really turn very nasty. And this kind of thing is actually pretty realistic, which is, you know, sometimes people say, yeah, it's all fantasy, it's all made up. I mean, this is a fantasy series, but no, not really. I mean, quite a few aspects there are really very realistic in my opinion, and you can basically learn quite a lot from this on how, you know, Japanese society really operates. And in this particular case, this is kind of the dark side of the otaku fandom community. Yeah, so much for the Recreators App 11. And the other episode that I wanted to comment on in this video is Seikaisuru Kado episode 10, which again, I hope it's a bit too late for this, but of course it's a major spoiler, so if you haven't seen the episode, then you'd better watch that first. And in particular, I really like this universe creation scene. You know, year 1. This is at around 2 minutes. It's really beautiful graphics in my opinion. And this kind of Y and key and whatever, these are probably those anisotropic beings outside of the actual universe. So this is basically the kind of the process of the creation of the universe, which in physics would be basically before the Big Bang. This is probably the moment of the Big Bang, I guess. And this is the extremely early hot expansion phase in cosmology. This is the young universe, essentially. Imanoa. Basically, what was that? Those kanji persons, they're kind of hard for me to read because the kind of specific kanji there. 9 billion years later, this is already pretty much developed. This is around the time when Earth was created. It was about 4 billion years ago. This is really very nicely done. basically a spiral galaxy. Okay, so this is about the time when Earth was created. This is the, I guess, Paleolithic period. So basically, first organisms in the sea, dinosaurs. I guess the idea is, now this 2.6 million years ago, guys with bows, no way, no way. I mean, this is this is, I think, kind of a big mistake there. I mean, the early hunters with bows, I think it was maybe 100,000 years ago, not much.
生まれたばかりだもの。名前考えてくれた？うん。サラか。
綺麗な名前って言うからよ。お前も気に入ってたろ。
Saraka is actually a pretty unusual, really unusual. I don't think I've ever seen it before this Seikaisuru Kado episode. So it's kind of interesting in a way. The kanji is basically Hana.
でもそれがいいんじゃねえか。なあ、サラか。笑った。女の子ってもサトルと変わんねえな。
だって生まれたばかりだもの。
It's philosophical.
名前考えてくれた？うん。サラか。
綺麗な名前って言うからよ。So that's for this moment. And there's another pretty interesting moment in this episode around 10:30.
お、なぜ？
私はこの宇宙の一番のファンだから。
Okay, it's around the commercial break.
眉の初期設定のみを行い、以降は手を加えない。自然主義か。
This is a pretty interesting moment. Basically, the difference in opinion between Yahakuza Shinina and Saraka is that Yahakuza Shinina is kind of, you know, an omnipotent god type who is not above tweaking stuff. So if he wants to take the humanity out of the universe into the, you know, higher dimensions under the tropic world, he just goes and does it. And in Saraka's case, she's also kind of a supernatural being, so one of those who had originally created the universe, but her approach is that you set the initial conditions and then you don't touch it. This is the so-called Einsteinian God, because Albert Einstein, or Einstein in the English pronunciation, he basically postulated that a god of this type, who has created the universe like 14 billion years ago, and since then has basically done nothing, just was sitting back in an armchair and relaxing and watching stuff from outside. This kind of god is possible. I mean, you cannot disprove an existence of a god of this type. So this is a kind of Einsteinian god. So Saraka would be kind of an Einsteinian type of god, although technically she's still interfering already by her own presence inside the universe. Technically, the Einsteinian god needs to be outside of the universe, so that there is really zero interaction. But still, this is the kind of conflict between the typical theistic god of Christianity, for example, or whatever. Most other major religions are like that, Buddhism or you name it, where basically the god can just go in and do stuff whenever he wants, and he has done stuff. And the Saraka side is basically an Einsteinian god who hasn't done anything. until this moment. So this is a kind of interesting, you know, ontological discussion going on there. Finally, one more moment in this episode that I kind of wanted to comment on is this, around 18 minutes.
人間を宇宙の果てしない流れの中でほんの一瞬花を咲かせた人間、その刹那を一生懸命に生きる、そんな人間を私は好きになりました。
Okay, so this is basically the interesting part. Technically, if we take space-time, we do live kind of in a higher dimension. We do live in one point. So between past and future, there is really only one point, and so we kind of live in this instant. So that's basically what she's saying at this point. But the corollary that I fell in love with him for that is kind of, it's pointless, because everything out there is just in this moment. I mean, it really doesn't matter if it's humanity or some dogs or some asteroids. I mean, it all exists, you know, at this point in space-time, or in a higher dimensional space-time. So this kind of justification for Saraka's actions is really not very convincing, to be honest. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say here.
私は人が大好きなんです。
I don't know. It's pretty nice scene there, but it's, to be honest, it's kind of more, it's more for, you know, there is more romance here than real common sense or logic, because the Einsteinian God, in the sense of Saraka and so on, I mean, I don't think he'd be really in love with humanity. Not likely at all. Especially looking at what kind of things we usually do out there. It's nothing too great, to be honest, most of the time. Anyhow, that's what I wanted to comment on in these two episodes. If you like this format, if you think I should repeat this sometime later, then yeah, please tell me in the comments. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching. ありがとうございます。またね。